It's Monday, October 1, and time for your Barbados Today evening news update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. It's a done deal. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund today stamped its approval on a 4-year, $290 million arrangement under the Extended Fund Facility for Barbados. The program will help the country to lower its high debt, strengthen its external position, and improve growth prospects. Government Special Advisor on the Economy, Professor Avinash Prasad, told Barbados Today this morning's approval means that the island is now eligible for an immediate disbursement of $49 million, which is good for the country's depleted reserves. He is not only expecting confidence in the local economy to return, but for government's economic adjustment program to continue with less pain.
In my view, in fact, the most important reason to have the IMF backing the plan is not the money, because we're such an indebted country that ultimately borrowing money is not our solution. Mm-hmm. But it's about having this credibility that if the IMF approves your plan, others want to lend to you, and your policy doesn't have to overcommit. It doesn't have to be so draconian. It has to just work, as opposed to catching up and trying to prove yourself because you have no credibility. Am I making any sense to you whatsoever? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the real reason why we have gone to the IMF. It's not because that their funding is absolutely critical. It is that if external people have looked at the plan and believe it is financeable, it is credible, it hangs together, the numbers make sense. After 10 years in which people did not believe that for Barbados, then it actually means that we don't, we have to just do what we have to do. We don't have to do more.
Put down the guns. That's the call from Health Minister Colonel Jeffrey Bostic on the sidelines of the launch of a Healthy Caribbean Coalition program to prevent childhood obesity this morning. He told reporters the recent shooting incidents in the country are concerning. He says government will address the matter and appeal for calm.
The impact is significant, and the gun is not the way, and the violence is not the way. I mean, there's no other way to put it. But as a government and as a society, because it's a societal problem, we have to find the root causes of these problems and deal with those issues in order that people, it's a mindset situation. It's a subculture that has developed and is developing, and we need to be able to get people to just calm down and tone down.
The minister's appeal came as residents expressed fears over their safety, even as police stepped up their patrols in Crabble, St. Lucie, following shootings over the weekend that left one man dead and 2 others nursing injuries. 40-year-old Dexter Rohan Lashley of Crab Hill No. 2 was gunned down yesterday morning, while a man and a woman were also injured in separate incidents. When Barbados Today visited the community today, the fear was evident on the faces of residents who are worried for the safety of their families. A timely and necessary exercise. That's how Minister of Culture, Sports and the Creative Economy John King is describing the 3rd phase of an Organization of American States project aimed at expanding the socio-economic potential of cultural heritage in the Caribbean. Minister King, along with the local OAS representative, Francis Mark Barnett, signed a memorandum of understanding today on the $1.5 million project, which will see, among other things, the proper documentation of the island's cultural heritage.
There is no national comprehensive list of sites of memory such as slave burial sites. There is no official list of monuments and lighthouses, fishing villages, plantation houses, clusters of chattel houses, or even homes of national heroes. All of these are important cultural heritage resources. The development of a national registry, therefore, necessitates a change in our cultural policy. It will require a review of the relevant laws governing the preservation of heritage that now sit within various governmental and non-governmental agencies.
The Ministry of Education says it will monitor the progress of the island's students through greater use of information technology. Acting Education Minister Senator Lucille Moore announced the new approach at a church service to mark the start of Education Month at the Church of the Nazarene, Collymore Rock, this morning.
At present, we have completed the rollout of an educational management information system. This will allow for the monitoring and reporting of key performance and behavioral indicators. All information technology coordinators are trained, and schools should be able to actively populate the portals when completed, and in the future, parents will be able to electronically monitor their children's progress.
The theme of this year's activities is Building Excellence in Education through STEAM, that is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics.
The goal of STEAM is to foster the true innovation that comes with combining the mind of a scientist or technologist with that of an artist or designer. By engaging students through the integration of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, STEAM aims to promote the teaching of in-demand skills from an early age that mirror the multidisciplinary reality of life beyond school.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
On the regional scene, we head to the Bahamas, where Prime Minister Hubert Minnis says he is committed to rectifying the issues facing the doctors' union. Last month, doctors at one of the country's hospitals demonstrated against current working conditions and salaries. Prime Minister Minnis, who returned to the country over the weekend after attending the United Nations General Assembly in New York, says he will meet with the union as soon as possible.
I was at one time, a member of the Senior Doctors League, or whatever you want to call it. And I spoke with my colleagues about a week ago before I left. I asked them so I was not sleeping. I know what's going on. I asked them what were their concern, and we spoke. And I told them that as soon as I return, I would meet with them. So I have all intentions of meeting with my colleagues this week so as to resolve that issue. And I understand what their matters are, and they understand what challenges and obstacles I may face.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump says investigations by the FBI into allegations of sexual misconduct against his Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh should be thorough but swift. We get the details in this Reuters TV report.
I want them to do a very comprehensive investigation.
President Trump insists he's not reining in the FBI as it investigates allegations of sexual misconduct against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. But Democrats and others are crying foul. I'm Andy Sullivan in Washington, where the FBI has been interviewing people who knew Kavanaugh in high school and college as lawmakers try to determine whether he's been telling the truth about his past. The big question, of course, is whether he engaged in sexual misconduct. But Kavanaugh's drinking is also shaping up to be a key issue. If it turns out he's been lying on that front, that too could sink his nomination. All three women who have accused Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct say alcohol was a factor.
This is not a man that said that he was perfect. perfect with respect to alcohol.
At the White House Rose Garden on Monday, Trump said Kavanaugh had been forthright about his drinking habits as a young man when he testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee last week.
I drank beer with my friends. Almost everyone did. Sometimes I had too many beers, but I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
But several former classmates at Yale University say this picture of moderation was not what they remember.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, and you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.